Hey everyone, it's time for yet another great Learn Flute podcast. This is episode 81. Let's get started today with an episode that will help answer a question for complete newbies, especially about understanding note placement on the staff. I'm Rebecca Fuller, your host and the expert at LearnFluteOnline.com, where I'll help you through all things related to learning how to play the flute and to do it really well. Are you curious? I hope so. Let's get started.
You can do it, and Rebecca will show you how, step by step all along the way. Introducing the Learn Flute Podcast.
I recently had an email conversation with a nice guy who unfortunately had to send me his question more than once. Now, the reason he had to send it to me more than once is that it was hard for him to explain, and even harder for me to understand what he was asking. Well, after a couple of back and forths, we got it. And now I see that it's possible that someone out here in the cyber learning land can use a copy of our conversation. Let me explain. Now, without talking about the first confusing emails, I'll get right to the gist of what he was asking. I found it quite interesting. Now, a little back information is that he's a complete brand new beginner to music and has been following my online lesson series in the gold level. So we've been learning how to read the music as well in there, and something has him confused. He was asking me. Now, listen carefully so you can understand as well. His question is, why, for example, does the note E repeat and have different locations on the staff lines? I notice this is happening for all the notes. Why? Now, at first, his question wasn't worded quite as plainly as this, and it had me kind of baffled. But once I understood, then we just had to get kind of scientific with the answer. So, if you can imagine the 5 staff lines with me here. Let's take one note name, for example. Let's choose the letter E, like in our letter. This alphabet letter represents a pitch that we hear when we play our instrument. And in order to make the intended pitch happen, we use finger combinations on our flute. We also have to blow the air speed and a few other things to make the exact tone or pitch that we're looking for. Now, there are 2 different notes named E within the staff lines. The first one is at the very bottom on the first line. This is considered the lowest, or the first octave E. Now, if the word octave is new to you, I'll take a little side note here to explain that the flute has 3 full octaves of notes that it can play. The basic idea is that we can play the same set of notes 3 different times. One time low, one time medium, and another time way up high. Now, the next time we meet the note E is between the top 2 lines of the staff. This is the second octave E, and we have another E even higher. But this is where the confusion was happening for my new friend in the email conversation. He was wondering why they would reuse note letter names. Why not just have a different letter for them all? And why does the low one find itself with the line intersecting the note head right on the line, and the higher one sits perfectly between the 2 lines? Is there a rhyme or reason to this? Well, I had to think about this for a bit and get really scientific-y about it now because, well, here's the explanation that we need to understand first. Are you ready for this? Put your thinking cap on and listen carefully. Each pitch is characterized by the frequency of vibrations in its sound waves. These vibrations are counted as cycles per second. Sounds technical? Well, it is. But if you think of a nicely drawn wavy line, the sound waves are evenly spaced. In science of sound, these waves are counted and can even be seen with our eyes in slow motion video on instruments with strings that are plucked, like a guitar or a piano. Well, how many waves there are in each second of time distance is what's being measured and named. So if the number of waves in a set is, for example, 220, and assigned the alphabet letter representation of A, then every time the wave frequency doubles, it's also assigned the same name, the name A. Only the octave has changed. So I'd like to let those of you who love math problems, you can Google definitions of hertz in music, Hertz, in relation to pitch and see the fun that you come up with. Because hertz is what these waves are measured in. Well, anyway, let's leave that aside. When two notes are one octave apart, one has a frequency exactly 2 times higher than the other. It has twice as many sound waves. Now, obviously, we can't think fast enough or hear fast enough to discern how many waves are floating in the air as we hear something, so we have to interpret in a more human way. Have you ever heard a man and a woman singing at the same time, and it appears that they are singing the exact same melody notes, but the man is just singing low and the woman is high? Well, this is what's happening. The women are singing with double the frequency. Now, any note that is twice the frequency of another note is considered exactly 1 octave higher. That's 8 notes difference. When placed on top of each other, they sound very much the same. Just one is high and the other one is low. Now, if you're new to music, don't worry if this seems confusing today. It becomes very apparent as you practice and listen enough. I actually don't see this that way. That's hard to even think of it that way, very scientific and mathematical. But in my mind, I actually see this in color. The low E and the higher E's are the same color to me. They seem kind of blue. And we could pretend that the G's could be green. Maybe the B's might be red. The octaves to me are just different shades. Well, that's how I see it anyway, but you can take that or leave it, and we can talk about that another day. Well, for those of you who are still with me, if you're still awake and listening, let's talk about how this is written on modern Western sheet music. There have been many different methods invented all throughout the world over many generations of time trying to represent music in a written format. Now, if you've ever visited an old ancient cathedral, for example, you may see the music of the monks in glass cases. I've seen those. They're pretty neat. It looks very different from what we see nowadays. But in some countries, they still may hold on to historic methods of writing for their traditional instruments especially. In what's considered modern staff notation, that's our fancy way of saying how we write music on paper. It has spread through the world and is considered the universal norm now. So this is nice because it means that musicians from all around the globe can all speak and read in the same written language. Pretty cool, huh? Well, there are a few rules to know, and once you get these memorized, you're golden and can continue on even more successfully. So rule number 1, read from left to right. Yeah, that's important. And rule number 2, all right, we're going to use the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then in music, it just starts over again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But this time, on the second octave, the notes will sound higher. They'll sound an octave higher. Because just like the word octave, oct, O-C-T, means 8. And, well, count with me here on your fingers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, and G is 7. And now we'll continue upward in pitch, but we have to start over again with the letter A, which would be the 8th note in our sequence. Did I explain that okay? Hang on with me for a few more seconds. Let's visually place these 7 notes on the staff lines. The bottom line is considered line number 1. And without having to get into a whole mess of explanation as to why it's the E line, let's just memorize that this is the E line. Any note that touches on this line is given the name of E. Now moving upwards into the space above the first line, but below the second line is considered the F space. Now any note that sits inside this space is given the name of F. Now moving on up to the next line is G. Into the next space above that is A. Are you seeing it now? It goes line, space, line, space, line, space. Now perhaps you've even drawn 5 lines on a paper and are following along right now. You could do that and re-listen to this whole podcast again and understand even more. The middle line is the B line. The space above it is C. The line above that is D. And now we've run out of letters and we have to start over again with E. Because we did E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E again. But this time the E is in the top space and not on a line like it was down at the bottom of the staff. Sadly, this is the demise of many flute students who are also music reading rookies. Now the low E and the low F are opposite looking from their second octave equals. Low F is in the space, but second octave, F, or the higher one, is on the top line, along with every other note. Oh, that might be confusing. The lower notes are oppositely placed in relation to the lines from the next octave above it. Now, the mathematical reason is that there are an odd number of notes for an even number of places to put them. The notes oscillate from line to space as you move from octave to octave. Whew! Well, there's some food for thought today. Did you stay with me through all that? I would love to know if this helped at all. For those of you who are math-minded and really wanted to know, there it is for you. Well, I appreciate you and your journey, and I also hope that you will come to the comment section of these audios and let me know what you think. I'm releasing these all week by week. I'll be pointing students at different discussions at different times by either linking in a module lesson or sending it out via email or on social media. So if you haven't had time to get signed up for the membership here at Learn Flute Online, where all of the actual visual learning lessons are, and even more information that will help you learn how to play the flute really well, it's definitely time to do so. We want you to join us. See you soon.
Thanks for listening today. Remember that this is where people of all ages, such as you, can come, learn, and play the musical instrument flute in an easy-to-follow, organized manner, and in the privacy and comfort of your own home, on your own schedule.